Hi everyone, welcome back to Function Pilates channel. Today I would like to talk about how to relieve sciatica pain. It does affect more than 3 million people in the US alone, so it is a topic of discussion that I want to address so that you can do some stretching and strengthening exercises in your own home. So what is sciatica? Sciatica is triggered by pressure against the sciatic nerve, causing radiating pain, numbness, tingling on either one part of the leg or even both sides of the legs, stemming from the lower back. If you have experienced this before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It can even go down and draw into the side of the foot, on the lateral part of the foot. So I do want to take a moment to compile different stretches and strengthening exercises that you can do in your own home. So what we'll do is begin by lying in on our back. And I'm going to address this on both sides of my body here, even though you may be experiencing only on one side of your body. So choose what works best for you. If you have the extra time to do this on both sides of your body, then I would recommend that. So the first stretch I'd like to do is, let's begin by extending out that right leg. You're gonna pull your left knee into your chest here. We're gonna take a hold of that left knee with the right hand, left arm down to the floor, and you're just gonna send this leg over the midline across your body, stretching out through your hip. Now, for some of you, you might feel this through your back, and that's okay too. But for a lot of you, if you're already tight in your hip, you're gonna feel it on the outside of the hip here. So we're gonna press down, and I would say anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds, you can be of how much time you need for your body. And again, just stretching out to open up through the hip. And just continue to breathe. Some of this can be very painful or really uncomfortable. The more you breathe through it, the more that the muscles can actually begin to open up and stretch. And then once we've hit our mark, we're gonna come back down and we're gonna release that leg. Let's pull that other leg in. So left hand to the right knee, right arm down to the floor, and I'm using my arm here on the floor as leverage. So I'm gonna press into my right knee, twisting my body. You have the ability to look straight up, or if you prefer, you can also turn your head to the right, and again, enjoying more of the stretch, maybe not just in the hip, but again, if it feels good in your back, we can take advantage of it. 30 to 60 second hold. It's best that we start doing these stretches before we add in the strengthening exercises, which is why I'm starting with the stretches. And then once we've hit our mark, we can carefully come out of that and release it. So the next one is we're going to go into a figure four, or piriformis stretching. So I'm going to show this a couple different ways. But for one, we can begin by placing that left ankle over the right knee. We can draw this into the chest like so. This is, again, great to do on the floor on a hard surface, or you can even do this in your bed if that feels okay for you. 30 to 60 second hold. If you can't interlace your hands behind your thigh, grab a t-shirt, grab a towel, and you can begin to pull in. I'm going to show you another variation here too, but this can be done with your foot against the wall. So your right foot can be up against the wall, left ankle over your right knee. 30 to 60 second hold here. If you want longer, that's fine, but they're just recommended time frames. And then we can go ahead and carefully release that. I'm gonna do the other side. So right ankle over that left knee, draw that knee in towards the chest here. And if you need more of a stretch, you can always think about the right knee reaching away from your body if that feels okay for you. Again, listen to your body, don't overdo it. And again, these stretches can be done every day if you're starting to notice a sense of relief. 30 to 60 second hold here. And then we're gonna go ahead and let that go. Okay, so we'll come all the way up. Another option for that piriformis stretch is we can always go into the pigeon. So how do we do that? Well, if you're on your knees, we're gonna step 1 foot forward. You can take your hands down to the floor and you're just gonna let your knee fall off to the side, allowing for your hips to come down to meet the floor. Now, a few options here. We can always keep our hands down on the floor, just lifting our chest up. For those who have a little bit deeper flexibility, we can again drop it down to the forearms if that feels all right. And if you even have more, you can always take it down nice and flat. So it's so important to listen to your body. Maybe you're not here today. Maybe you're all the way at the top for today. Maybe you prefer the other stretch I demonstrated before this. You can do both. You can do one or the other. And then to carefully come out of this, I'm going to just push myself up and slide that foot behind me. Okay, switching sides. Right foot goes forward. Let's take those hands down to the floor and then letting that knee fall off to the side, dropping down, and again, finding the proper placement for your body. And just holding. And just breathe. You can obviously hold this position a lot longer if it feels good for you. One of the main things to think about here is trying to keep your hips squared. It's really easy to let your hip roll back. So try to bring it forward again so that both hips are looking down towards the floor. And then very carefully, we're going to sit ourselves up and take that leg back. So into this next stretch, I want to go into stretching through the hip flexors. So that's the front of the hips. So I'm going to still be on my knees. I'm going to step my left foot forward. I'm going to take both hands to my knee, letting that knee go exactly over the ankle. I'm going to send my hips forward, keeping my chest lifted. And I should feel this in the front of my right hip. Now, if you want more of a stretch here and your body will allow it, you can bring your arms up and you can lean back, extending your spine, again pressing those hips forward. Another 30 to 60 second hold here. And then returning back down again. Good, pushing your hips out from underneath, and then we will switch it. So the goal is to really have these stretches and strengthening exercises comfortable for you to do on a regular basis. So I don't want it to take up so much of your time, but again, putting the work in on a daily basis, especially if you do suffer from a very severe case of sciatica, this should definitely help. Breathe, sink down a little more, keep the chest lifted as you push the hips forward. Carefully returning and coming out of that. Good. Okay, so the next exercises we're going to do is about strengthening the gluteal muscles here. So I'm going to use a wall to do the next set of exercises. What I want you guys to also think about is that stretch. I did the figure 4 stretch where you can use a wall. I did mention that. So I'll show that to you first before I move on to the next strengthening exercise. So feet are up against the wall here. And then what you can do is you can take your ankle over your knee Now, if you're not feeling the stretch as much as you would like, you're gonna move your body towards the wall, okay? So I'm gonna scoot myself down a little bit more. And then you can think of your left knee reaching towards that wall. You can assist it by pressing, or you can relax your upper body and just slightly shift the knee in the direction of the wall. So for those that have a hard time keeping their leg up, or they're not as flexible as they'd like to be that day, this is a great option to substitute instead of the figure 4 where you're clasping behind your thigh. Good, let's switch it carefully. And again, as I just noticed here, one side of my body is definitely tighter than the other. So the same with you guys, if you do feel like one side is tighter than the other and you have to make some adjustments by either going towards the wall or moving away from it, definitely make those changes so that you're getting the best of this stretch. Deep breaths here. Again, just helping to open up through the hip, applying a gentle amount of pressure that your body can withhold. And once you hit your mark, again, releasing carefully, and then we're gonna set both feet here. So I am already lined up for the next exercise I want to do here, and this is going to be a bridging exercise to help strengthen the glutes. So with my arms on the outside of my body, I'm going to use my arms as leverage here. I'm going to put pressure into the wall, I'm going to peel my hips up, and I'm going to push down with my arms, really squeezing through my glutes, and then I'm going to lower everything back down again. So nice and easy, we're gonna push against the wall, lifting the hips up and lower everything back down. You don't have to go super fast. I would take your time with it, check in with your body, see how your body is feeling or reacting to the exercise. You don't have to use a wall here either. You can keep your feet on the floor, but I definitely wanted to give you an extra option to strengthen. Good, lifting up and lowering back down again. So if you're just starting this, maybe 1 set of 10 is all you need. I would work your way up to 3 sets of 10. And what that means is that we're gonna do a full 10 bridges consecutively. You'll want to take a break to reset your body, and then you'll go into your second set of 10 and repeat for a 3rd time if you so choose. And 3. Think of squeezing through the glutes as you lift up to help contract those muscles. 2. When you contract those muscles as well, that also helps to alleviate the discomfort through the low back. And 1 more. Lower back down. Good. So, option here, you can keep your feet on the floor if you don't like the wall, and then you can continue lifting and lowering. Again, your arms are here. I would take advantage of using them for leverage. So press firmly against the floor to lift and lower. We'll do another set of 10 here in this optional variation. Think of your knees stretching forward. And then as you continue here, you'll notice that your muscles are beginning to fatigue. That is the idea, which is why it's so important if you are doing more than 1 set of these exercises that you take the necessary break to reset your body, to recharge, so that you are executing the exercise properly. Good, 3 more. We're gonna contract, squeeze the butt cheeks as you lift the hips up. Think of relaxing them as you lower back down. 2. And 1 more time. Good, lower all the way down. Nice. Okay, so from here, we're gonna lie on our side. We're gonna go into another set of strengthening exercises here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my ear to my bicep, letting my body lay flat on my side. I'm gonna bend this bottom leg in, okay? So from this position, you're going to turn your toes down. You're gonna flex your foot, so you're pulling your toes towards you. You can keep your hand here for balance because I do want you to be in the most comfortable position. And you're lifting your heel to the ceiling, lowering your toes back to the floor. So things to avoid is letting that hip rock backwards because we do want to isolate the glutes here. So you should feel this right in the center of the butt cheek as you lift and as you lower. Try to relax through your neck and your shoulders and lift and lower. I'm going to say the same recommendation, so 3 sets of 10. And again, taking those necessary breaks in between. Because these aren't easy. These are definitely difficult, and it's a weaker part of our body for most of us. Lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. Good. And then you're going to rest there. Good. So take that in. Maybe you need to do a little stretch with it. Good. So again, 3 sets of 10 would be the progression. You can start with the 1 set of 10 for today if you're first starting the video. Our next strengthening exercises is our clams. So we're going to connect your feet together, let your knees stack over, one on top of the other. Keeping your heels together, you're gonna lift the top knee away from the bottom knee, lower back down. Very controlled, and down. So each of these exercises are actually focusing in on different areas of the gluteal muscles. So yes, you're gonna feel it all in the hip region, but if you really tune into your body, you'll notice that you'll feel it in different areas. And that is the idea. Lifting and lowering for 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Good. Again, extend out. If it feels good, you can pull in to stretch it, out, and pull in to stretch it. Again, 3 sets of 10 there at the max, and at the minimum, at least 1 set of 10 for you. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I would do it on both sides. So once you're done with the one side, you can switch it to your next side. I'm a big fan of keeping things very symmetrical, even though you may not be experiencing any sciatica on the opposite side. So the last strengthening exercise I want to teach you guys today is about back extension. So we're going to come to our stomach, and it's one of my favorite. We're going to open out through the legs here, okay, so that we're not compressing through the spine. So I do want separation through the feet. Your hands are on the floor. They're slightly in front of you. And you're just going to begin to push your chest off the floor here to extend the spine. So some of you might come up all the way. For those that it's too challenging, maybe the back feels stiff, or you're just easing into it, even come up to a height that feels comfortable for you. So just listen to your body. If it's hard to lift up, maybe you are feeling restricted through your shoulders, you can always walk your hands out in front of you or wider. So play with it. See what feels right for you, and lower down. me, I'm gonna come back to this position because that feels good for my body. And 1 set of 10 here. This one is definitely my go-to exercise. Not only is it great to increase flexibility in the spine, but it's a great strengthening exercise. And there's just so many benefits to it, especially when we're on the topic of how to relieve sciatica pain. Taking your time to breathe, not rushing through this exercise, that is important. And I'm going to do 2 more. And I'm just pausing at the top. There really is no specific time table here to stay at the top. Just do what feels right for your body and bringing it back down. Good. So for those that it feels good to take that child's pose, you can come into the child's pose position, but make sure that the knees are separated. And then you can stretch those arms out in front of you, dropping all the way down if that feels fine. You can always put a pillow underneath your hips to your heel if your hips can't reach your heels here. And then come back up again. So some of the things to avoid if you have sciatica is anything where you're going to feel like your legs are completely straight. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. So anything where your legs are out in front of you and you're in this perpendicular shape. If you're stretching this way, it's definitely going to cause some discomfort through the low back and irritate the sciatica. So I recommend that you do not do this type of stretch here. Secondly, a lot of people like to do more of like a forward fold to stretch out their low back, meaning that they will just stretch all the way down like this. Now, if that feels good for you and you do like this one, make sure that the knees are micro bent and you're stretching and hanging this way. Try to avoid keeping your legs completely straight and the knees locking out. Last is if you're a runner and you are familiar with the runner stretch, where we separate the feet, keeping both legs straight, and then we hinge forward. Again, this is a locked position with this leg straight, and we need to add a micro bend into the knee so that you're not causing that radiating pain to go down the leg here. So we want to avoid all 3 of those different stretches that a lot of people find like that's what their go-to is because they are not really sure what to do. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please hit the thumbs up button, please share, please subscribe. I'll see you soon.